The Truth Will Set You Free, Episode 17. Truth, Trauma, and the False Identity. Reclaiming the real you beyond the matrix self. Before the masks, before the stories, before the wounds, there was you. Whole, radiant, eternal. This episode is not a healing story, it is a reclamation. The Matrix installed false selves through trauma. It fractured remembrance and replaced it with performance. But your Oversoul was never broken. In this episode, we will uncover how trauma is used to program artificial identities, dissolve survival-based personas and ego masks, reconnect with the indestructible soul signature beneath all wounds, reclaim your true name, your divine voice, your unshakable essence. This is not about healing to become someone new. It is about remembering the one who was never lost. Let us begin. Introduction. What if the person you believed yourself to be is not truly you? What if the personality you defend, the name you answer to, and the roles you are playing are all garments stitched together by trauma? In this episode, we journey into one of the Matrix's most insidious mechanisms, the fabrication of false identity through unresolved trauma. The Matrix cannot control the Oversoul. It cannot distort your eternal self. But it can fracture your perception, insert survival-based distortions, and trick you into identifying with the wounds rather than your divine truth. This episode is not about bypassing your pain. It's about transmuting it. It's about liberating yourself from the lies that pain told you. Because behind the masks, the fears, the shame, and the adaptations is you, the real you, the unbroken you, the eternal you. Let us walk together into remembrance. Segment 1. Trauma as a tool of control. Trauma is not random. In the Matrix, it is strategic. Every wound becomes a hook. Every unprocessed pain becomes a doorway for manipulation. When you experience trauma, especially early in life, the body and mind form survival mechanisms, strategies to keep you safe. But these strategies often involve fragmenting parts of your truth, suppressing your voice, detaching from your intuition, and overriding your inner needs to gain acceptance. These fractures become portals for the false programs, loops of guilt, fear, self-rejection, and control. The Matrix feeds on these trauma loops. It uses them to keep you cycling in reaction rather than creation, compliance rather than consciousness. But when trauma is seen clearly, it loses its power. And when it is healed, the identity built upon it begins to dissolve. Segment 2. The fabrication of the false self. The false self is a mask, an adaptive identity created not from truth, but from survival. Every time you were rejected for your authenticity, a mask was created. Every time you were punished for your light, a layer of false self was built to protect the truth underneath. This false self is not evil. It was a protector, but it is no longer needed. Signs of the Matrix self: constant self-doubt or people-pleasing, overachievement as a form of validation, fear of being seen for who you truly are, an identity built on labels, trauma stories, or roles: victim, rescuer, rebel, etc. To awaken is to begin the sacred dismantling, not of who you are, but of who you never truly were. Segment 3. The real you cannot be broken. Underneath all the programming, pain, and projections lives the eternal you, your oversoul, your divine blueprint, your indestructible self. You were not created by the matrix. You are not defined by trauma. You existed before the pain, and you will exist after the healing. Your true essence cannot be damaged. It cannot be erased. It can only be veiled, and the veil is lifting. To reclaim your true self is not to perfect your ego, but to surrender back into the radiance of your soul. It is to let go of the lies you've had to believe in order to survive. The truth is, you were never your pain. You were never your defense mechanisms. You were never the masks you wore to be loved. You are love. You are truth. You are sovereign light. Segment 4. Reclaiming divine identity through embodiment. Reclamation is not conceptual, it is embodied. You must live the truth you remember. Daily actions of embodiment. Speaking your truth even when it shakes. Choosing authenticity over acceptance. Breathing into discomfort instead of avoiding it. Creating from your oversoul rather than your programming. Every time you act in alignment with your divine truth, the false system and the false self weakens. Every time you choose presence over reaction, you reclaim another fragment. Your identity returns through breath, ritual, creation, and sacred stillness. You do not need to find yourself. You only need to remove what is not you. Reclamation is remembrance, rooted in radical embodiment. Sacred Reclamation Ritual, the inner child and the true name. This is a sacred remembrance practice offered as a standalone activation in the Temple of Light. You may receive the full ritual transmission and guidance by visiting the temple on our website. However, here is a brief practice you may begin now. Place your hand on your heart. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. In through the nose, out through the mouth, becoming centered in the stillness of this moment. In your mind's eye, call forth your inner child, the pure essence of you before programming. See them standing before you. Offer them love, safety, and truth. Say aloud or silently, you do not need to perform to be worthy. You do not need to shrink to be safe. I see you. I hear you. I love you. You are free to be all of you now. Now allow your true soul name to rise, the name that vibrates from your oversoul. Speak it aloud. Whisper it. Anchor it in. This is who you are. This is your return. For the full version of this ritual and the accompanying transmission, visit the Temple of Light. Let it be sacred. Let it be whole. Closing. Beloved one, you were never lost. You were simply layered. Layered with pain, with defense, with distortions that made you forget. But now you remember. You remember that the false self was never the end of your story. You remember that trauma is not your name. You remember that your essence cannot be harmed. And in this remembrance, you rise. You rise in your truth. You rise in your light. You rise in your divine identity. You rise in your divine identity, whole, radiant, and real. Let this be the day you stop pretending to be anything but you. The real you is returning, and the matrix has no hold on what it cannot name. And so it is. On the next episode of The Truth Will Set You Free, we unveil the reality field, collapsing the false matrix grid. A revelation of the artificial overlays, AI-coded frequencies, and grid distortions that have veiled organic Earth. This episode dives into how false timelines are upheld, how they hijack our perception, and how to collapse them through sovereignty, frequency mastery, and Oversoul alignment. Step into the true Earth timeline. Reclaim the living field of divine reality.